How to turn around your cancer journey. Consider this trajectory. You have cancer, you know of a loved one who has, you are at risk. You may not even see yourself anywhere in this trajectory, but know this status is mercurial. Life is sublime. What is today may change tomorrow in just snap of a finger. Yes, cancer is a road never chosen. Yet, some of us may need to traverse it. As an oncologist who has seen cancer up close for decades, I feel that it is important that all of us must know the journey of a cancer patient, a journey like no other. People know me as a cancer specialist. What most people don't know is that before I became an oncologist, I was caregiver of cancer patients. My mother had cancer and my mother-in-law also battled this disease. So, my perspective comes from both sides of the table. Whether you are the patient or caregiver, if something touches you in what I am going to talk today, my aim would be accomplished. In almost 30 years of my medical career, I have delivered a diagnosis of cancer to patients and their families numerous times. I have seen death also on a very regular basis. What keeps me going, makes me unstoppable, is the incredible power of the human spirit I see daily. The will to take adversities head on. I have witnessed so many shades of human behavior and the ways different people deal with this disease differently. Much like the 5 stages of grief that Swiss American psychiatrist Kubler Ross talked about in the 20th century, I see a cancer patient's journey traversing through distinct stages. The first stage is that of denial. I distinctly remember my patient Mr. Singh in his mid 50s. He was filled with dread, a premonition perhaps, when he discovered the lump in his neck. Yet, when the chilling diagnosis was in, he would have none of it. His arsenal of logic: I have no history, there's no one in the family who has it, I don't even smoke. Yes, a second biopsy was done, but the results did not change. Mr. Singh responded with an aggressive pushback. Others experience intense anger, some cry, and some go into stupefied silence. But one thing is for sure: nobody forgets the exact moment, the exact day that they are diagnosed with cancer. And at that moment, and in the hours and days that follow, the instinctive and overriding emotion is that of denial. Remember, the only way to get over denial and get past you must is to build up knowledge. Read, talk, talk to experts, but no more than two or three, or else you will be losing precious time. Get that review done from another place if you must, but be quick about it. I can never forget Suresh, 54-year-old businessman. He came to me with chest pain and cough, and the investigations confirmed malignancy. But then Suresh disappeared. He returned 5 months later, declaring, I am now ready for treatment. Suresh had been to doctors all over the country to get the diagnosis confirmed. In a tragic twist of fate, in the 5 months of medical shopping, he had developed multiple liver metastases with jaundice. The devastating verdict: he was unfit for anti cancer treatment. Suresh had lost his battle with cancer even before he could draw out his sword. British psychologist Lewis talked about information fatigue syndrome. So very relevant here. Once a diagnosis of cancer is made, there is endless bombardment of ideas, advices, stories, and even medical manipulation and bullying thrown at the cancer patient and the family, leaving everyone confused, drained, and despairing about what's best to do. Get out of this deadly whirlpool fast. Limit and filter information you absorb from internet or any other source. Only check certified credible sites. And also limit your research to a time schedule. The next step on the journey of cancer is inevitably, why me? I have done no one any wrong. I have always believed in God. Why has the universe plotted against me? These are the questions that plague an anguished heart. At this point, reiterate to yourself, you are not alone in this anger and resentment. It's the universal human reaction in the face of mortifying adversity. So, how do you help another or yourself in this stage of journey? First, let the emotions fly. Cry, scream out to the universe if you must. Yes, it is unfair. You may have done nothing to deserve this. At the end of this catharsis comes the truth. Cancer is an accident that, by definition, can sometimes happen to the most unsuspecting and undeserving too. But there is also another truth. With adversities come solutions. You need to zero in on them. Even if you have been lax in any way, forgive yourself and move on. True, the best time to plant that tree was 20 years ago. But that boat has already sailed. So the next best time is now. A thought here that helps a lot of people to come to terms with reality and move forward from why me is a very simple perspective. Cancer has happened. It is a reality. You cannot choose to dispense with reality, but you can choose your reaction. Reaction A, take it head on, or B, give in and wallow in self pity and defeat. If you choose A, you stand a big chance of emerging a winner. However, if the later, you are already doomed. My patient Madhu Nanda writes eloquently, I choked, I cried, I battled, I won. She was detected with cancer in the spine in the year 2009. Today, a young lady in her 70s lives gracefully with her children and grandchildren, enjoying the little good things in life. The next stage is that of fear. Yes, fear grips us all. It is a living nightmare. The future is uncertain, and many of us feel, do I even have a future? Is the pain going to be torturous? I will lose all my hair. How will I cope up? My children are still young. How will they manage? For an average person, especially in our country, cancer is often socially demonized as a death sentence. Here is where I must emphasize again and again. Know this, and I say this with years of experience and my knowledge of the subject. Cancer treatments have evolved a lot, and lot many cancers are curable today. Here is some statistics from WHO to give you a better perspective. Heart disease and stroke are the world's biggest killers, accounting for a combined 15.2 million deaths in the year 2016. These diseases have remained the leading causes of death globally for last 15 years. Lung cancer caused 1.7 million deaths, and diabetes was not far behind at 1.6 million. Even tuberculosis and malaria continue to kill. About 1.35 million people die on the roads per annum. So get your perspective right. Do not let fear do you in before anything else. The first thing to push yourself to do when filled with fear is to seek help. However much you feel yours is a unique situation and others cannot help, join a support group, talk to a survivor. Keep at it for a while. I guarantee you are likely to find at least a modicum of calm, and this will in turn help you process your fear. The final stage in the journey, which actually leads to the action you must take to tackle cancer and emerge victorious, is one of hope. No, do not brush aside this simple yet powerful emotion, which releases endorphins, stimulates the mind and is likely to energize you with the willpower to fight better. The first way to build up hope and feel good is to think of the things that make you happy. Could it be just simple dressing up, seeing a hilarious movie, chatting over a cup with a loved one? Do it even if you don't feel like it to begin with. Our brain is wired in such a way that you are likely to enjoy the affirmative activity, and this will in turn help you relax and cope better. I am reminded of Anju, who used to come all decked up in a pretty dress and bright makeup for her chemo sessions. She told me that the chemo sessions make her feel low, and to counter that, she dressed up. Do an Anju. Indulge in whatever makes you feel upbeat. You have been dealt with a bad set of cards. Now it is up to you whether to fold in early or play the bluff and keep the game going. Always remember the simple mantra, this too shall pass. Last but not the least, connect with faith. One of the world's most powerful scientists, Francis Collins, winner of the 2020 Templeton Prize, who was earlier an atheist and now a believer, sees no conflict between science and divinity. As a person of science, a cancer specialist, I have in my decades of practice often been stunned and humbled at what sometimes come to pass. I have met many advanced stage cancer patients who, in my medical opinion, I thought would not pull through beyond a few months, but they have surprised me by living for years and happily. Call it a hopeful attitude or the power of faith. I do not know the reason, but I do know without doubt that such things happen and not so infrequently. So hold on to your faith. When Ruchi Dhawan, a 45-year-old teacher, came to me, she had stage 4 breast cancer. The disease was aggressive. A typical textbook case with a survival possibility of just 8 to 12 months. But Ruchi, ever smiling with a never say die attitude, literally, last month she completed a decade since her cancer was detected. We all live once, but I always say cancer patients have two lives. Everything for them is before and after cancer. Things change. Some lose jobs, relationships suffer, education of children may falter, old equations change. Cancer changes life's perspectives. Cancer brings the worst and the best in humans. It is true that life changes physically, mentally, socially, and financially. But how each cancer survivor copes with the life after is also very different. It depends a lot on the lessons one learns during this journey. Some emerge stronger, some continue to live under the fear of recurrence. Again, it's a choice. Most survivors feel incredibly blessed. As a cancer survivor, you harvest a bounty. You see life as a wondrous gift and truly appreciate everything that life and living brings. The everyday moment when one opens one's eyes to the morning sunlight is no longer everyday. It is special. Every small joy is felt and enjoyed. The breeze, the blue skies, minutes spent chatting to your youngster, a hug from your spouse. What I say, the simple joys of simply living. Sneha Rotre, an architect who had cancer when she was 34, said to me, cancer forces you to prioritize. I no longer sweat the small stuff. I used to get angry with the cab drivers, but not anymore. It is simply not worth it. I am able to focus on things that make me feel good. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in the year 2014, and today Sneha is founder and president of a non-profit organization which works day in and day out for the betterment of cancer patients. When Parimita Sahu, a 38-year-old IT professional, with a 10-year-old special child, learned that she had cancer. Her first panicky thought that surfaced through the haze of devastation was, I can't die, I have to live for my son. She says it was this which gave me the initial push to be strong. She would travel to Delhi from Odisha on her own every week for her chemo sessions. Today, she says, cancer has not killed me, it has given me the chance to live more fully. But every cancer patient may not go through the journey I have talked about. Every journey is unique. Yet, cases abound of how, in the face of death, people may actually learn to really live. And as the prayer goes, God grant me the courage to change the things I can, serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and wisdom to know the difference. Yes, the clock of life is ticking for all of us, not just those with cancer. If you are 50 today and believe you are going to make it till 70, just pause and realize that you have only 20 more Thanksgiving dinners to spend together with your family. It is not about adding years to life, but adding life to the years. Yes, it is indeed a wonderful life worth fighting for. So go on, take your cancer journey boldly, and from can I to I can, and finally I will.